like that also contradicts what the electron affinity value should be. The the crux of the point, like the reason is in the size, but why? Like how is the size playing a role in this?
So if you say the atomic radius in fluorine is lesser than chlorine.
Yes. Okay.
So chlorine has more electron affinity.
Still, like why? The question is why? Like how is size related to this electron affinity? Technically speaking,
Because,
yeah, go ahead.
because if it is away from the nucleus, then it's easier for wait.
The size of fluorine, because when you try to
Yeah.
remove an electron from when you try and remove an electron or one electron from fluorine, it is a very difficult job to do, because the effective nuclear charge on that one electron, no wait, shouldn't it be its valency?
No, like one, you're adding an electron to it. So I am not sure why you were talking about like removing an electron. So yeah,
Yeah, we're adding an electron.
okay.
So maybe it's because like if the orbit is way further out there, so then it's easier for it to gain electrons.
No, it's not, because nuclear charge, like the protons are the ones that are attracting the electrons, right? So agar dur hai,
Oh, okay.
so there's not enough energy from the protons for it to attract the electron. Now look at the drawings I have made. Using like common sense, using logic, like don't even think of atoms, electrons, charges or anything. Just by using logic. If I were to add another cross, would it be easier for me to add another electron or like this particular cross in the smaller circle or the bigger circle?
Bigger.
Why do you say bigger?
Because there's no more space.
Exactly. So that
Oh,
is the reason. So fluorine का electron affinity के लिए, so yeah, it's able to attract the electron easily enough from the nucleus. But at the same time, it's also facing some repulsions from the existing electrons. So that is offsetting some of the energy, like, attraction, if you consider it to be positive and repulsion to be negative. So that's like offsetting some of the energy there. But in the case of chlorine, the repulsions are less because, you've got a lot more space. That is the reason there is a slight anomaly when you compare fluorine and chlorine. So that's why it's,
Can I ask something?
yeah, go ahead.
I understood the case of fluorine and chlorine, but
Mhm.
like this, so there would be many other cases where this should happen, or this is just a way so that we understand that fluorine is has more electron gain enthalpy than chlorine.
No, this would play a role in others also, but it is more pronounced in the case of fluorine and chlorine. Like it all depends on the numbers, right? Like how much positive you're gaining versus how much negative is offsetting it. So in the case of fluorine, chlorine specifically, it's enough to cause an anomaly. But if I were to compare, let's say oxygen, sulfur, let's see क्या हो रहा है. Hey, select this. हाँ. So oxygen is 141 electron affinity और sulfur का आ रहा है 200. So this is, see, even in the case of oxygen sulfur, okay, this is like, this is a this is like, you can see that electron affinity is like the value is increasing. So let's see. Yes. Nitrogen, phosphorus. So nitrogen is 7 kilojoules per mole and phosphorus का हो रहा है 72 kilojoules per mole. And then if I look at arsenic, फिर यहाँ पे 78 हो गया. Yeah. And then if I go down a group, this is 103. Okay, in the case of group 15 though, it is like constantly increasing only. And bismuth ke liye, again, it's like reduced a lot, got back to 91. Yeah. So yeah, fluorine and chlorine is like the most examined case, but yeah, you will find this. This is actually another, this actually goes to the next point I would be discussing with you guys, that this sort of anomaly you will find in a lot of places, but mostly when you're comparing elements of group 2 versus group 3. Sorry, group ne, period, like the second period versus third period. Okay. So the main reason for this sort of anomaly that you'll find between the second period and third period is because of the smaller size of the second period elements. Okay. And in fact, a lot of times what happens is the second period elements, sometimes they start showing similarity with the properties from properties like from the elements that are diagonal to them. Like lithium, if you consider the properties like the covalency of the bonds, or um, yeah, like at least when it comes to things like electronegativity and all, lithium would be more similar to magnesium than to sodium. Similarly, beryllium will show more of more similarity with aluminium. Like boron will show more similarity with silicon. Like in this case, it is like the most obvious because both boron and silicon are metalloids, but carbon is like a non-metal. And when you come down to tin and lead, even though they're in the same group, tin and lead are like metallic. So especially when you look at the second and third periods, a lot of times the second period element shows similarity in properties with the element that are diagonal to them in the third period. So this sort of similarity is called diagonal relationship. Okay. So when you look at trends and properties in the periodic table, the first kind of anomaly comes up due to electronic configuration. Like when you have half-filled orbitals or fully filled orbitals, like in the case of nitrogen when compared to oxygen, or manganese when compared to iron, or zinc when it compared to gallium, cases like that. Second kind of anomaly is in the same group, second period versus third period, those elements, they show some kind of anomalies. Like for example, electron affinity of third period elements like sulfur and chlorine are larger than the electron affinity of second period elements, even though we've found that general trend should be it should decrease when you go from top to bottom. Now the reason for this kind of anomaly is due to the smaller size of the second period elements. And if you extrapolate from this, like if you start looking at the properties of the second period elements, they have a kind of a diagonal relationship with the third period elements. So which means that second period elements like lithium, beryllium, boron have similarities with the elements that are diagonal to them. Like lithium is similar to magnesium, beryllium is similar to aluminium, and boron is similar to silicon, that way. Here. So these are like some anomalies in the periodic table. Yeah. All right. So you guys, have you done your worksheet of periodic table? Like, did you get
Yes,
it?
ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any
Halfway through.
halfway through? Okay. Do you have any doubts in any of the questions in your worksheet?
Ma'am, the give reasons are difficult to answer.
Okay.
I mean, I was doing it 2 days ago, and it's like, you know, the give reason, the one point that is like the answer to the give reason, but there is like a whole 15, not 15, 5 lines given just about the give reason. So I don't know.
Like, yeah, are you saying your answer compared to the answer key?
Yes.
Okay. And have you gone through it? Like, was it completely different points, or did you just have to
No.
elaborate on what you had to write?
Yeah, I had, so every time I wrote a give reason, it's like I had to elaborate. So what I wrote was straight to the point, but
Mm-hmm.
what they gave is a little bit of something extra. I don't know how to put it. So like, when you look at the question bank, some questions are very easy, very straightforward, easy to answer. But then there are give reasons. I mean, I still haven't reached the 3-5 markers, so
Okay.
I don't know. But like, I've solved halfway through it.
Okay.
So
Okay. So that's actually a good point there. So that way, and also it's not necessary that your answer has to be point for point same as what is there in the answer key. It also depends on how you get it in the exam. Like if you get it as a 1 marker, like if it's like a 2 mark question and you get 2 different points for give reasons, then you don't have to write like 5 lines for it. Just like get to the point, give whatever is the main reason, and finish it off. But if it's like a slightly longer thing, if it's given as for
like
two
a
or three
vague
marks,
question.
yeah, then you know that okay, if it's longer, they're expecting you to elaborate on it, not finish it off in like one word or a phrase. Then you have to like explain what is the meaning behind it, or go deeper in the reason itself. Like if, for example, just to pick one, if they ask a reason about trend in property, like why is, mm, let's say, radius decreasing as you go from left to right in a period, if it was like 1 mark or for half a mark or something like that, then you can just write it because effective nuclear charge is increasing. But if they're expecting slightly longer, then you get into it. As you go from left to right, the number of shells remain the same, but the number of protons is increasing, which is why the effective nuclear charge is increasing, and you give that elaboration. So that, yeah, depending on how you get it, depending on the context, you will have to use your judgment to answer. But yeah, that's brilliant because yeah, now that we discussed it, you will learn how to answer questions, where to answer long versus where to answer short, all of that. It's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. So do you guys want to start chemical bonding now, or do you want to discuss some questions in periodic classification itself? What do you want to do? Hmm?
I think questions will be better.
You want to do
Just
some
get
questions?
a better understanding of the topic.
Cool. Okay. Uh, you you guys have already done chemical bonding in class, right?
Yeah.
Not complete. Yeah.
Okay, कहाँ तक पहुँचे?
S block. I mean, my class is on S block.
Oh, so you've finished chemical bonding then.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't like really opened that textbook. I haven't got the time. But like, yeah.
No, I want to understand how do you feel about chemical bonding? It's one of the important chapters. The concepts from chemical bonding you will keep coming back to in some form or the other.
Chemical bonding, we are when you're talking like organic chemistry,
नहीं,
or is that a separate chapter?
it's a different chapter. Chemical bonding and molecular structure.
Vesper, VBT
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Vesper.
Okay, because we started with organic chemistry. So,
Oh, periodic classification के बाद you did organic.
yes, ma'am.
लेकिन
We did
how?
chemical thing.
Yeah.
Have we done We have done the chemical bonding chapter.
Because it is something you will keep, like organic chemistry will be way more difficult if you haven't done chemical bonding, because you keep talking
Okay.
about sigma
Yeah.
bonds, pi bonds, shapes and
Yes, we have done
structures.
that chapter.
Huh.
Yeah, ma'am, we've done that.
Yeah. So how do you guys find that chapter? That's kind of an important chapter and it's lengthy. So what level are you guys at with that?
I like the chapter. I mean, I haven't gone to the NCRT yet.
Okay.
So, but like besides that, it's a pretty good chapter.
Okay, you were able to understand. What about the rest? Like, if you had to rate it 1 to 10, 10 being, yeah, you're pretty confident you can answer questions, 1 being, I have absolutely no clue, how much would you rate it? You can put it on chat also, you guys, if you don't want to say it.
5.
5, okay, midway there. Okay, cool.
Because I understand pi bond, sigma bond, and then I also understand different overlaps. But
Mm.
after that, the thing that sp square,
Ah,
and
okay.
and they're
Hybrid
asking what shape
orbitals.
would it be?
Yeah,
Yes,
okay. Okay, cool.
and the naming also, the trigonal, bipyramidal,
Acha, acha.
I cannot
ठीक
name,
है.
and the degrees.
Cool. Okay. Easy. आसान है. उसके पीछे logic है. Once you guys get it, बहुत आसान लग जाएगा. It's fine. Alright. 3 लोगों से आंसर मिला. What about the rest of you? Dhriti, Ansh, Taranum?
Ma'am, I think it's 6.
6. Okay. Alright. So everybody is like on an average coming up to about 5. Manageable. कर लेते हैं. Cool. Okay. So this, like, chemical bonding is a lengthy chapter. We're going to take 3 classes to do it, like properly with practice and everything. So pehle class mein we'll do Lewis structures, maybe discuss the bond parameters and all. The second class we will discuss VSEPR and VBT, and the last class we can do molecular orbital theory. होना चाहिए. ठीक. Cool. So abhi ke liye it's 3:45. Do you want to just spend this class on questions of periodic classification, or do you want to start chemical bonding today itself? Just answer A or B. A is just questions. B is we'll do some questions for maybe half an hour or something, and then do chemical bonding.
B.
B. Okay.
B.
B. Okay. Cool. So we'll discuss some questions and the remaining I'll give it to you guys as homework. ठीक है. Cool. So we'll do questions till 3:15ish. उसके बाद start कर लेंगे chemical bonding. Alright. Okay. Concept based Mendeleev's and all. Okay, this is all we can skip. यहाँ से कर लेंगे electronic configuration and this thing. Okay. Look at 3Tb17. If each orbital can take a maximum of 3 electrons, then what is the number of elements that you will find in the second period? Okay, so currently we have 10 elements in the second period, na? So 8 elements in the second period, right? So वो 8 elements क्यों आए? Like why did we, after finishing up with the 8 elements, why did we go to the third period after that? So I'll display the periodic table so that it'll be easy for you guys to look at it and figure it out. There you go. So second period में actually there are 8 elements. Why do we have 8 elements in the second period?
I don't know that yet, but like we have 3 orbitals when we come to the second period. 1s2, 2s2, and 2p6. But then if I apply that 3 electron wala logic, it becomes 9 elements. I don't know.
Not, no. So यहाँ पे you've got 1s2 तो, okay, first thing is you need, like when you're filling up the elements, what decides whether it's in the first period, second period, first group, second group is wherever the valence electron is going. So second period में the valence electron is going in 2s1, 2s2, 2p1, 2p2, 2p3, 2p4, 2p5, 2p6, right? So second shell, what is the maximum number of electrons that the second shell can take?
8.
8. And 8 because each orbital, like s orbital can take 2 plus p orbital can take 6. Now in this hypothetical universe, the question says if each orbital can take maximum of 3 electrons. So each electron is taking maximum of 3 electrons. Then how many electrons can be accommodated in the second shell?
6.
6. So how many elements will you find in the second period?
6. If
6.
that hypothetical question.
Yes. Yeah. So that's how you answer this kind of question. Okay. Guys, समझ में आया? Like, और अगर किसी को नहीं समझ में आया तो I'll repeat it. Otherwise, we'll go to the next question. What guys? Yes, no?
Ma'am, do we do it like this? Like in the second period, the maximum number of electron that one element can have is 18.
In the which period did you say, second or third?
Second period.
Second में maximum electrons 18 कैसे?
Okay, is it? It is 10, right? Neon.
हाँ, 10
2
is
and 8,
total.
okay, 10.
हाँ, total 10 है, but that 10 also is distributed as 2 and 8, no? So you'll only need.
I
to
did not
the
understand
balance
then.
share. Okay. So if you look at the periodic table, you guys know the 2n square wala rule, right?
Yeah, the maximum number of electrons that a shell can have.
Yeah. So that way, first shell can have how many electrons?
2.
2. And first period has how many elements?
2.
2. Okay. Next, second shell can have a maximum of how many electrons?
8.
Yeah. And so second, what do you call it? Period has how many electrons?
10.
How many elements?
Elements, sorry, yeah. 8. Third shell can take how many electrons total?
18.
18. So 18 because you have S plus P plus D. But when you're writing the electronic configuration, the d orbital doesn't get filled up. So we've got 1s. Just a moment, I'll just shut the video. Slow. Huh. So first you fill 1s, then you fill 2s and 2p, then you fill 3s, 3p, and you don't fill 3d unless 4s is filled. 4s ke baad 3d is getting filled. So if you look at the electronic configuration, your arrangement of periodic table is basically matching what your electronic configuration is. So first period mein you've got like 1s getting filled. Second period mein you've got like both the orbitals of the second shell being filled. Third period mein you've got the orbitals of the third period getting filled. And then whenever you're filling a new orbital of a new shell, you're going back to the fourth period. और उसके बाद यहाँ पे 3D चालू हो रहा है. 4s2 के बाद 3D हो रहा है. उसके बाद 4p is getting filled all over here. So that way, the arrangement of elements in the periodic table is very much related to your electronic configuration. This is something that we did example problems also, right? Like if I just told you a random element, like if I say, give me the electronic configuration of rubidium, you could do it completely basically based on the position in the periodic table. Like you said, iske pehle noble gas is krypton. Basically krypton ka jo bhi configuration hai. So you have 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d10, and 4p6. So that's the electronic configuration of krypton. Uske baad 5s1 aayega. So that way the electronic configuration is very much related to how the elements are placed in the periodic table. So that is the reason you have 8 elements in the second period, because यहाँ पे second shell में you've got a total of 4 orbitals, 1 from s and 3 from p, accommodating maximum of 8 electrons. So 2 plus 6, 8 electrons maximum accommodate kar sakta hai. That is the reason you've got 8 elements in the second period. Abhi, if you come back to the question, now you don't have SPDF as you know it right now. The question says, what if each orbital can take 3 electrons maximum? So यहाँ पे अभी 2 electrons ले रहा है S, P is taking 6 electrons maximum. Instead of that, what if S also took 3 electrons maximum, P also took 3 electrons maximum? तो फिर तभी ये second period में how many elements will you find? So that is what is being asked there. So S can take 3 electrons, so you'll have 2s1, 2s2, 2s3. Then P can take 3 electrons, so you get 2p1, 2p2, 2p3. So total of 6 elements hoga in that other hypothetical universe.
Understood.
Okay, cool. Pakka?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So going back to this. Write the atomic number of the element present in the third period and 17th group of the periodic table.
Chlorine.
Chlorine. So atomic number क्या होगा?
17.
17, yeah. So how would you do this? Like what if it was some unknown element? Like how would you do this?
Ma'am, the period gives us the number of shells and
Yes.
the group gives us the last electron configuration.
Absolutely. And once you get the electron configuration, you just add up all of the number of electrons and that will be equal to the number of protons. Okay. We'll look at some give reason questions. Baki sare they have direct questions like write the general outer electronic configuration. How many groups are there? Account for the fact that fourth period has 18 elements and not 8. Why?
The D loads also taken into consideration.
Yes. So along with 4s and 4p, you have extra 10 electrons of 3d getting filled. So that's total of 18 elements. Then characteristic features of D block, P block, ये सब तो discuss किया. 27, huh? All transition, no, it should not be there. So all transition elements are D block elements, but all D block elements are not transition elements. Explain.
How do we explain? Like this is just an exception, right?
But exception के पीछे वो reason था ना? Like, why do we call transition elements as transition elements?
Because they show the transition
Metal
from
to
metallic to
non-metal.
non-metallic character of elements.
That was like the previous, like, old definition. But now that you know what is the electronic configuration and all, एक दूसरा reason भी है ना? What was that?
DD transition.
हाँ, DD transitions. Now, where will you find DD transitions? Like, what is the condition for DD transitions to happen? क्यों होते हैं DD transitions?
Is it because the electron keeps on jumping across from one?
Yeah, that is DD transition. What criteria or what condition is necessary so that the electron can jump?
Atoms need to be very close together. They're all packed to metallic lattice.
Can you repeat that, Sid? Didn't get you.
So, they're all packed together, right, in a metallic lattice, and because they're very close together, the electron can keep on jumping from.
No. That is not DD transition. DD transition is when the electron jumps within the orbitals of, like, within the d orbitals itself. That's why it's called DD transition. It's transitioning from one d orbital to the other d orbital, like excitation, de-excitation and all. And for that to happen, like, when can that sort of transition take place? Like, what is required so that the electron can jump within the d orbitals? Guys, ये तो common sense वाला question है. I shall give you an example. What is the electronic configuration of ion? So give me electronic configuration of ion and zinc. Ion का क्या होगा first? Atomic number is 26.
Four s to 3d6. Argon 18 as your core.
Whatever, neon, like noble gas के बाद you have
Yeah.
4s2
And
3d6.
zinc is
हाँ,
argon core 4s to 3d10.
4s2 3d10. So if you compare the d orbital of ion versus d orbital of zinc, what can you say about it?
Zinc is completely filled.
Yeah. Now, in which case can you observe a DD transition happening? Like, in which case is it possible?
Iron.
Iron.
Why is it possible in ion?
Because there are vacant places.
Yeah. So
So the
that
electron is jumping.
that was what I was asking you guys. So
Oh.
transitions can happen if you have incomplete d orbital or partially filled d orbitals. So the key word here is partially filled. Zinc has completely filled d orbitals, which is why there are no dd transitions possible here. And that is what differentiates your transition elements. Now valence electron is still going in the d orbital only. That is why zinc is a d block element, but it is not a transition element because you don't observe dd transitions taking place. And why don't you observe dd transitions taking place is because zinc has completely filled d orbitals. So transition elements are characterized by partially filled d orbitals. So partially filled hai matlab electrons have spaces to jump from one orbital to another. Excitation, de-excitation within the d orbital can take place. So that's why what are your properties of transition elements? Colored compounds, magnetic properties, like all of these are possible because you've got partially filled d orbitals. Electrons are not completely paired, you have unpaired electrons, and electrons have the space to like jump between each other. So इसलिए भूल गए, like we had discussed difference between like what are transition elements. Okay, now are you clear?
Yes.
Okay. 28. Helium has electronic configuration of 1s2, but it is placed in p block in group 18. Why?
Isn't it helium is considered an s block element?
But it is like if you look at the classic periodic table, you find hydrogen on one end, helium on the other end. Why?
Yeah.
Maybe it is what do we call it? Noble gas. That is why.
Absolutely, that is the reason. So even though valence electron is going in the s subshell, because it is 1s2, it's like a completely filled shell. So that's why that explains its chemical properties also. It's a noble gas. 29 is a direct question, like what are the 4 blocks and why are they called, all of that. Periodic trends. Huh, 33. Atomic radius of fluorine is 72 picometers, whereas atomic radius of neon is 160 picometers. Why?
Van der Waals forces.
Forces nahi? Like you
No,
consider
sorry,
Van
Van
der
der Waals.
Waals, yeah. Van der Waals radius in the case of neon versus fluorine mein what kind of radius, like what measure of radius you do?
Covalent.
Covalent, yeah. What are the various factors due to which ionization enthalpy of the main group elements tends to decrease down a group? So main group are basically your S block and P block wale groups. So basically, why does ionization enthalpy trends to decrease?
Size of the atom.
What happens to the size of the atom?
Charge. It increases as you go down the group.
Yes.
Then effective nuclear charge, as the size increases, effective nuclear charge also increases.
Does it?
No,
Agar
that's
It
because
decreases.
effective nuclear charge decreases. Yeah.
So in that case, your ionization enthalpy increases.
Yeah. Cool.
So these were 2 factors. Anything else?
You can also talk about the shielding effect.
As the size increases, the shielding.
So as the number of shells increases, the inner electrons shield the valence electrons from this thing. So that indirectly affects the effective nuclear charge. So effective nuclear charge is getting affected, one, by the distance, and two, by also the shielding effect of the inner electrons. Okay. Which of the elements, sodium, magnesium, silicon, phosphorus, would have the greatest difference between the first and second ionization enthalpies? Matlab, if you measure IE1 versus IE2, which of these elements would have the greatest difference?
Sodium.
Sodium,
Okay, and why?
because of its size.
Huh?
No,
I mean,
its electrons only in the first shell. So
so
the
Mm,
it
minute you
loses an
remove it,
entire
you
shell.
shift the shell,
yeah,
an orbital, and that's
yeah,
where it's going
yeah.
to look like.
So on losing, like with IE1, it's gaining octet configuration, and for IE2, you have to like remove an electron from a completely filled shell. That's going to be great. A lot.
It is because sodium, like usually also, the
Mhm.
first ionization enthalpy is the greatest in sodium. That like, is that the reason?
No, ionization enthalpy is in fact less for sodium because it has like only one electron, it loses that electron. The second one is greater, like it is a lot greater than the first one because um, like it attains that octet configuration. Like you'll have to remove an electron from a completely filled shell. That's more difficult, so you would have to put in a lot of
Okay,
energy to
okay.
remove
I
that.
I confused it with electron gain enthalpy.
Huh. Yeah. Okay. Uh, so all these explain what you understand by covalent radius, van der Waals radius. ये भी direct question है that you just need to give the definitions. Oh, give reason why halogens act as good oxidizing agents.
Electronegativity.
Because they're highly electronegative.
Yeah. And give reason why the electron gain enthalpy of noble gases is almost zero.
Because it would require a lot of energy to add an electron to a already completely filled stable neutral atom.
Yes. Hmm. Level 1 concept 1 3. Oh, you guys remember this, right? IUPAC name of element with atomic number 110 108.
Yes, ma'am. Nil.
Huh. Can you predict the blocks and the periods? Like aluminium belongs to which block and which period?
Only when the atomic number is given. Yeah, it is. So I can.
Yeah. Okay. Oh. Which has the which group of elements has electronic configuration ns2np4?
Group 16,
Are you sure? Group 16?
NS2, NP4. I am going according to 2s2 2p6 wala thing. So 1
Yeah.
to 6.
You're
So,
right. Yeah.
ma'am, you shouldn't do this. I started doing.
Be confident, na? Like if it was not a random guess, you can just like be confident, like, yeah, this is my answer. I'm right. Yeah. The outer electronic configuration is given. State to which block each of these elements belong.
Wait, what was the eighth answer?
8 was group 16.
Okay.
See, NS2 NP4 hai na? So like P block mein hai and 4 electrons have been filled. So P block starts with 13, 14, 15. Fourth is 16th group. Another way to know it is अभी fully filled होने के लिए you need 2 more electrons, right? And usually NP6 you will find with group 18 because there are 18 groups only. So 2 less than group 18 is group 16. So वैसे भी you can figure it out. Then periodic trends. A boy has reported that all of these have this much radius. However, it has been noticed that he interchanged the values by mistake. Assign the correct values to the different species. This is good. So you have Cu2 plus, sorry, Cu plus and Cu2 plus. What should be the radius of each of these species?
So Cu should be 0.122, Cu plus should be 0.72, and Cu2 plus should be 0.096.
Why?
Because the size reduces if it becomes a cation.
If you compare 0.122 and
Isn't
0.72,
Cu should be 0.72
huh.
and then Cu plus 0.122 and Cu2 plus 0.096.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't just look at 122 and 72. This is 0.122,
Oh, my bad.
0.72.
Oh god, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Okay.
I was confused.
In group 1, 3 elements are given. Giving a reason, arrange these elements in the order of increasing atomic number in the group. Oh, group is given, so it's fairly easy. Can you predict? So you're given the radius. Now you need to figure out which one's at the top, which one's at the bottom. Increasing atomic number hai na.
So Z is at the top, Y is at the
Vyx.
bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So all these are related to the sizes. I don't know why this is a question. I guess you can just match it using logic. It's fine. Again, all of these are pretty easy questions. You're just asked which is largest, which is smallest, trends of ionization, enthalpy, non-metallic, and all of that. Okay. So if you look at level 2, predict the position of the element satisfying the electronic configuration n-1 d3 and ns2 for n equal to 4. So they're basically asking indirectly. Valence shell configuration hai 3d3 and 4s2. तो इसका position क्या है? So whenever you ask the position, you need to mention which group it is in and which period it is in. The number of, like the group number and the period number.
Will it be vanadium?
Is it vanadium? Scandium, titanium? Yeah. So what group and which period? Vanadium is right.
Period 4, group 3.
Group 3.
Oh, sorry. Group
You
5.
have, yeah, you have 2s block also. उसके बाद d block चालू है. So D1, D2, D3. So fifth group. Okay. Yeah, that's how you predict. Asha, I'm not getting answers from every single one of you. So if any of you have a doubt, you are not sure, if you have not understood, you need to let me know. Otherwise, I will be under the assumption that you guys are following. Okay. Explain why chlorine can be converted into chloride more easily as compared to fluoride from fluorine.
It's easier to take the electron out of chlorine.
because
We
of
have to
its
add electrons,
bigger
right?
atomic size.
Electron.
Mm,
The
Can you?
Fluorine is a highly electronegative element and it does not bond with any element that easily. Oh wait, no, I said it wrong. Sorry.
Electronegativity is not the answer because fluorine is more electronegative. I'll give you a hint. You need to answer in terms of energy changes.
Chlorine has a higher electron gain enthalpy than
Yeah,
fluorine.
sure. Okay. Yes. So higher electron gain enthalpy matlab greater amount of energy is released. So greater amount of energy release hua means that process is more likely to take place. Like, the universe prefers that process to take place that way. Okay. Mm, uh, Among alkali metals, which element singular hona chahiye, do you expect to be the least electronegative and why?
Francium.
Francium, why?
So it's at the bottommost.
Yeah. So again, depending on how deep you're expected to go, you can just say it's got like the largest size, and then you can answer in terms of least effective nuclear charge. Yeah. Okay. Would you expect the second electron gain enthalpy of O as positive, more negative, or less negative than the first? Justify your answer. So, yeah.
What do you mean by positive, negative, and more negative?
Okay. So, electron gain enthalpy is basically defined as delta. This is enthalpy of electron gain. So, delta E Eg is basically the E final minus E initial.
Okay, got it. It'll
Right?
be positive, right?
So, you're saying when you have O minus already, this is the second, getting converted to O2 minus by adding an electron. If E final is greater than E initial, then you can say electron gain enthalpy is positive. If E final is less than E initial, so E final is the energy associated with this, E initial is the energy associated at the beginning of the process. So if E final is less than E initial, then delta Eg is going to be negative. Now, more negative or less negative is basically if a large amount of energy is released, then it will be more negative. And if lesser amount of energy is released, then it will be less negative. So that's what you have to compare in this situation.
I think it'll be positive.
No, it won't be positive. See, again, rule of the universe, this you have to remember for every single chemical process when you're talking about reactions, also when you're talking about, when you're doing thermodynamics and all of that. Lesser energy, like if the overall system ka energy is less, means more stability. If you compare O minus and O2 minus, which is more stable in दोनों में से?
O2 minus.
This is more stable, fully filled. Yeah.
O2 minus, yeah, sorry.
Which means that if you compare EI and E initial, like energy initial and energy final, which would you expect would have lesser energy?
Energy final.
Final, right? Which means that E final is less than E initial. So delta E will be positive or negative?
Negative.
It will be negative. So now, is it going to be more negative or less negative when you compare O giving rise to O minus versus O minus becoming O2 minus? Will it be more negative or less negative?
More negative.
More negative. Yeah. So that is the answer. It's got to be more negative, and the reason is that forming O2 minus is giving rise to a stable, completely filled noble gas electronic configuration. That is the reason, like, a larger amount of energy will be released because more stability. That is why delta Eg for the second electron would be more negative as compared to the first one. Okay. Clear? Ninth question. Explain why electronegativity values of noble gases are 0 while those of halogens are the highest.
Because noble gases are mainly neutral atoms, so
are
they
halogens.
not interact. No, ma'am. How will halogens?
Like if you have F is a neutral atom, no? But you still have electronegativity of F atom by itself.
Oh, so then it will be their electronic configuration of how they have completely filled shells.
Yeah. So if you have to answer simply, you can just say noble gases do not have a tendency to attract electrons at all, whereas halogens have a very high tendency. Okay, and if you want to elaborate more, then you can get into the electronic configuration, why they don't have a tendency. Can you guys write this reaction? Show by a chemical reaction with water that Na2O is basic oxide and Cl2O7 is an acidic oxide. So when you mix Na2O and water, what do you get? Product.
Assuming sodium hydroxide.
Sodium hydroxide.
Absolutely. And what's the nature of sodium hydroxide?
Basic.
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 Yeah. Similarly, if you mix Cl2O7 with water, what product do you get?
HCl.
Not just HCl, because you're not mixing only chlorine, you're mixing Cl2O7.
Yeah.
So you get something called
hydrogen peroxide.
Not hydrogen peroxide. I forget the name. Like you get chlorate. Chlorate is the salt. Perchloric acid.
Okay.
Yeah. So this, when we do group 17, I think that's there in grade 12, we will do more of it in detail, like all the oxo acids of chlorine. So you have chloric acid, hypochloric acid, perchloric acid, like all of these. Just like how you have sulfuric acid, sulfurous acid, and all that way. Okay, so I'll give you guys homework, and based on what you are able to answer versus what you're unable to answer, we can do more questions later on. We can discuss your doubts and things. Okay, so abhi ke liye we'll start chemical bonding. So talking about chemical bonding, so chemical bonding is basically first chapter you learned about atomic structure. It's basically figuring out what atoms are made of, and like if you have to cut apart an atom, what do you find? Like how are the electrons, where are the protons, all of those details. This particular chapter deals with the exact same or the same thing, except in the case of molecules. So now if you have to examine molecule under a microscope or a really powerful microscope, what shape will you find them in? How are all of the atoms that are making up the molecule arranged? In the case of atom, we were trying to figure out how are the protons and electrons, being opposite charges, how are they being held stably without collapsing into each other. Similarly, even though two electron clouds repel each other, how are these atoms forming a bond to form a molecule? Like you'll be looking at the same thing, like the structure of how molecules are made from the different atoms. Okay, so we like there are like just like with atom you had multiple theories, right? Like Rutherford proposed something, then Bohr proposed something, and then you had the quantum this thing by Schrodinger, who had actually given it in terms of equations and all. That way, even in the case of explaining how molecules are, multiple people have explained, like put forward multiple postulates. And Lewis is the most simplest explanation. And then VSEPR is like a step above that. So VSEPR gives you more information about the molecule. Then valence bond theory gives you some more concrete evidence and information. And molecular orbital theory actually explains like in terms of the energy levels and all that. Okay. So the first efforts to explain how chemical bond is happening, like how are the atoms arranged with respect to each other and all, it was given by a team of scientists like Lewis. So Lewis was the one who initially gave out some postulates of his. So what Lewis did is he visualized atoms as positive kernels. Kernel matlab nucleus. So it's the same as the kernels you come across in other situations also, like coconut ka kernel hota hai andar. So kernel is basically another name for nucleus, and it is surrounded by a valence shell. So this is what Lewis imagined it to be. Like the nucleus is surrounded by a valence shell. So he considered the inner electrons also to be part of the kernel itself, because inner electrons have nothing to do with bonding. Only the valence shell electrons take part in bonding. Okay. He imagined the valence shell is cube-like with the valence electrons occupying each corner. So he imagined the valence shell to look like a cube essay. And each of the valence electrons is occupying each of these corners. Okay. Hence, noble gases that have stable octet configuration have all of the corners of the cube filled up with electrons. So cube mein 8 corners hote hain. So that is why noble gases have all 8 corners filled up. That is why they're stable. You can see 7 here. The 8th one is somewhere like iske piche andar. Okay. So this is what is the octet rule given out by Lewis. So atoms achieve stable octet configuration when they are joined by chemical bonds. So chemical bonds can occur either by gaining or loss of electrons or by sharing the valence electrons. So he had the idea for ionic compounds and covalent compounds. He didn't give the term ionic covalent, but he kind of explained it. So the main aim of an atom is to have octet configuration, and it's like capitalism and communism, right? Capitalism में क्या होता है? There's give and take. Like it's more of business and trade. And communism is like, let's share all the resources that we have. So atoms also go with whatever is convenient for them. Some of them gain or lose their electrons to form ions, and others basically pull in their resources, like they share their valence electrons so that everybody is happy, everybody gets an octet. Okay, so these are like basically these are your basics. These are things that you had come across even in the lower grades. The only new thing is that this is how Lewis had visualized the atoms to be. So kernels consisting of nucleus plus inner electrons is surrounded by a cube-like valence shell. Okay. And this is how Lewis represented it on paper. So the nucleus is represented by writing the symbol of the atom, and each of the electrons is represented by either dots or crosses. So you can write it as Na. Valence shell में एक ही electron है. You can either represent it with a dot or you can represent it by a cross. Okay. The significance, like what this tells you is, one, it gives you the information of how many valence electron an element has, and two, based on this, you also get to know what is the valency of that particular this thing. So valency is basically the number of valence electrons if it is less than 4, and it is 8 minus the number of valence electrons if it is greater than 4. This is something you've been studying like forever. Valency of chlorine क्या होगा? What is the valency of chlorine?
-1.
1
Minus
minus.
1, right? Yeah, you know a step above that. In this case, chlorine has 7 valence electrons, so it's 8 minus 7 equal to 1. So basically, this is the total number of bonds it is capable, like people thought it was capable of forming. Like chlorine needs only one bond to complete its octet that way. Next. Now, Causel's points on chemical bonding. So Lewis had given an idea of what, like how to visualize these atoms. Now Causel is explaining how the bonding is taking place. So Causel had actually taken like an example to explain his bonding theory. So he says in the periodic table, alkali metals which are highly electropositive and halogens highly electronegative are separated by noble gases. So for example, so you take an alkali metal, sodium, or wait, the first halogen if you consider, fluorine. What comes after fluorine?
In halogens?
नहीं, fluorine के बाद क्या आएगा, like in the same order, atomic
Neon.
number wise? Neon. And neon के बाद you get, so neon के बाद you get
Sodium.
Then sodium के रो में if you have chlorine, Fluorine के बाद what do you get?
Argon.
Argon. And argon के बाद what do you get?
Potassium.
Potassium. Yes. Now, if fluorine was to get noble gas configuration, what is the best way for fluorine to get it?
Can you repeat?
So if fluorine wants to have stable octet configuration, what is the best or most efficient, closest way that fluorine can get it?
It should
Get
get
one
one
electron.
electron.
Yes. So it gains an electron to form the same configuration as neon. Then, if you look at alkali metals, what is the best way of forming, like of them attaining noble gas configuration?
Give one electron.
Yeah, so if they lose an electron, then they attain the noble gas configuration closest to them. Okay. So that's what Kossel said. Like halogens form negative ions by gaining an electron, and alkali metals form positive ions by losing an electron because they're on the either side of the noble gas. Now, negative and positive ions have stable octet configuration of the noble gases. So fluorine is 2s2 2p5. Electron gain करने के बाद you get 2s2 2p6. Similarly, sodium also, it had a 3s1 pehle. Once it loses its electron, it also gets the configuration 2s2 2p6. So the negative and positive ions are stabilized by electrostatic forces of attraction. Do you guys remember what do you mean by electrostatic forces of attraction?
The attraction between and a cation and an anion, like
No, in general, like pehle different types of forces the na. You had gravitational forces, you had friction. That way electrostatic force was one of the types of forces. So what do you mean by electrostatic forces?
The attraction force between positive and negative ions.
That's it. Ions bhi nahi. Like as long as you have unlike charges, the force experienced between charges is electrostatic forces.
Static.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you've got, so cation has positive charge, anion has negative charge. Now because you've got unlike charges, both of these will experience electrostatic forces of attraction. And that's what is stabilizing them. That's why they are able to like hold on to each other and form a proper compound. So bonds formed by electrostatic forces of attraction between negative and positive ions are called electrovalent bonds. Okay. Simple. And this is where you get the word like, and the compounds that are formed by, or you know, like that consist of negative and positive ions, they are called electrovalent compounds. So that's where the name is coming from. Now because they are held by electrostatic, electro, and where are the charges coming from? It's because of their valency. So that's why these bonds are called electrovalent bonds. And the term electrovalence is equal to number of unit charges on the ion. So based on this, what is the electrovalence of sodium? So what is the electrovalence of sodium in NaCl? This would be better.
And what do you mean by unit charges again?
Number of unit charges मतलब unit charges मतलब singular charge. तो कितने total charges है Na पे in the compound NaCl?
1.
No, as in positive or negative.
It could be positive
right?
or negative, either.
+1 and -1.
1.
Yeah,
Na has
this
1
is
and
1.
chlorine has 1.
Exactly. So electrovalence of sodium is 1. Electrovalence of chlorine is also 1 in this. What about electrovalence of Mg in MgCl2?
1.
How?
Mg has 2, Cl has
Mg.
1.
Mm. So
Okay.
number of unit charges. So in MgCl2, what kind of charge does Mg have?
Two
Positive charge.
plus.
Positive charge. And how many such charges are there for each of these Mg atoms in MgCl2?
1.
How is MgCl2 forming? What is MgCl2 made of?
Magnesium chloride.
Magnesium and chlorine. So if MgCl2 is to form, will it form an ionic compound or covalent? Like, is it an electrovalent bond or covalent?
Ionic.
Ionic, right? Matlab ions need to have form. So Mg forms, like, what ion does Mg form?
Mg2 plus.
Mg2 plus, right? So MgCl2 may Mg exists as Mg2 plus. So how many unit charges are there on Mg?
2.
2.
2. So that is why electrovalence of Mg in Mg2 plus will be, sorry, MgCl2 will be 2. Okay. So number of unit charges matlab, whether it is positive or negative, how much charge does it have? Like how many electrons? So in other words, you can consider it as how many electrons has the atom lost or gained. Mg has lost 2 atoms, इसलिए the electrovalence of Mg is 2. Cl gains 1 electron, so the electrovalence of Cl is 1. We'll do one more of this. What is the electrovalence of oxygen in potassium oxide?
2.
2. What is the formal charge of aluminium in, or electrovalence of aluminium in AlCl3?
3.
Yeah.
3. That's it. Then, so Kossel basically has given his points. He has explained how electrovalent bonds are formed, how like ionic compounds are formed. Now coming to covalent bond. So this was refined by Langmuir, and he is the person who introduced the words or something called covalent bond. So initially Lewis just said ki ha, like, you know, atoms can either share electrons or they like give and take. But Langmuir was the one who had given points in detail, like exactly how many electrons are shared, how are they shared, is it like an equal sharing or unequal sharing. Like he was basically able to elaborate completely on what covalent bonds are and how they are formed. Lewis just gave a rough proposition ki ha, electrons are shared, that's it. Okay, so let's see what Langmuir, how he refined and, you know, what he said. He says covalent bonds are formed as a result of atoms sharing an electron pair between them. So this is important. So atoms always share an electron pair. So each combining atom contributes at least 1 electron to the shared pair. Okay, so according to Langmuir, he says that there should be minimum 2 electrons for a covalent bond to be formed. You will never have a situation where, you know, an atom is sharing 1 electron and the other atom is not contributing at all. So minimum 2 electrons absolutely need to be there for a covalent bond to be formed. So each combining atom contributes at least 1 electron, and atoms basically share an electron pair. They never share a single electron. Combining atoms attain noble gas configuration in their outermost shell as a result of sharing. So this is important because unless and until they attain the noble gas configuration, there is no point in atoms sharing their electrons. So the whole point of sharing, whether be it 1 electron, 2 electrons, 3 electrons by each atom in the pair, is so that they get a final noble gas configuration. This is the whole purpose of covalent bond. In fact, getting noble gas configuration is the purpose for like everything in the world. Like it is why reactions happen. It is why atoms form ions. It is why ionic compounds exist. It is why covalent compounds exist. So using Lewis's notation, let's see how covalent compounds are formed. Okay, so this is like we're just taking an example of how Cl2 molecule is formed. This is like very, very easy. You think, okay, why is this even something to be said? Like this is something you guys have done in the lower grades also. So basically this is the Lewis dot structure of Cl. You have the kernel and you have 7 valence electrons of Cl represented as dots. Now Cl needs 1 more electron to complete its octet. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. So you have one Cl atom that needs 1 more electron, the second Cl atom which needs 1 more electron. So again, how many ever electrons an atom gives, it can take only those many number of electrons. Like both the participating atoms put in equal number of electrons. So the left side wala Cl gives its 1 electron, the right side wala Cl gives its 1 electron. So one pair of electrons is shared between both these atoms. So now you see the Cl has 6 of its own plus its 7th, and the 8th is something it's sharing with the other Cl. And same thing with the other Cl also. It has 6 of its own plus the 7th that it's given for the bond, and the 8th it is taking from the other one. Now both the chlorine atoms have octet configuration. They are happy and a covalent bond is formed. So this is how you denote the Lewis dot structure in the case of covalent compounds. And of course, yeah.
Sorry.
Sure.
I just wanted to check. Is it only Lewis dot structures or is it like Lewis dot and cross structures?
It's called, formally it's called Lewis dot structure, but
Okay.
you can use either dots or crosses to represent electrons. The reason
Okay.
why you will find places where they use only dots, but there are some cases where crosses are also used, because then you can clearly see which electron is coming from which atom.
Which atom, yeah.
Yeah, that way.
Okay.
So covalent bonds, like multiple covalent bonds, can be formed. If there is one shared pair of electrons, you call it a single bond. If there are 2 shared pairs, you call it a double bond. And if there are 3 shared pairs, you call it a triple bond. And this, you guys must be aware of how it is represented also. I'll take carbon as an example. One shared pair means 1 dash, represents a single bond. 2 shared pairs means 2 dashes, represents a double bond. And 3 shared pairs means 3 dashes, represents a triple bond. So single bond matlab there are 2 electrons. Double bond, there are 2 pairs of electrons, so 4 electrons. And triple bond, 3 pairs, which means there's 6 electrons shared. Okay. So like you guys had a formation of chemical, like like covalent bonds, writing the structure of some simple compounds like H2O, CH4 and all that back in 10th, right? How many of you have felt comfortable with it, are confident with writing the structure of these compounds? Can you just let me know either on chat, or you can raise your hand also on the call? So how many of you all are comfortable with writing structures of simple compounds like water, ammonia and all? Something you had back in grade 10 also. Okay, good. Mitali, Ishita, Sid also, I think. Dhriti is also saying yes. All right. All right. So the reason I'm asking is, if you are not sure, I can do a quick practice of it. Otherwise, I'm going to move forward. So if you are not sure, if you want a quick revision, let me know now itself. Otherwise, going forward, I don't want to jump into like the most complex things earlier. इसलिए. Okay. Okay. Writing Lewis representation for, if you have only two molecules with each other, it's pretty easy. But if you have something like, if you're asked to give the Lewis dot structure of something like nitrite ion, NO2 minus, then how would you draw it? Something like water, carbon dioxide is pretty easy. Valency से पता चल जाएगा. But something like this, or sulfate ion का अगर जानना है, SO4 2 minus, how would you do it? So there, like that's also like there's a proper method to it. आसानी से पता चल जाएगा. So the first step is to get the total number of valence electrons, not the total number of electrons, total number of valence electrons. Here on out, wherever you come across, get a total number of electrons and things like that. By default, just take it to be valence electrons, because we are talking about chemical bonding and only the valence electrons take part in the actual bonding. Okay. So get the total number of valence electrons. If I were to do it with nitrite ion में total number of electrons कितने हैं valence electrons? Can you calculate and tell me?
Seven?
Nitrite ion में.
Oh, sorry.
So nitrogen के valence electrons कितने हैं?
3.
Huh?
Valence, right?
Yeah. Valence matlab not just the orbital, like all of the valence, this thing.
Oh, okay. Wait, just a sec.
All of, what do you mean by all of?
All of, like, I'm assuming Sid said 3 because nitrogen is 2s2 2p3. I meant consider both the orbitals. Valence shell के electrons ही consider करना है. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So nitrogen has a total of 5 valence electrons. Atomic number has 7, so 2 5, so 5 valence electrons. Oxygen has how many valence?
Oh, wait, you're again, sorry, considering the whole thing, sorry. So that will be 2s2p.
6.
Yeah. And there are 2 such oxygen atoms. So take another 6 into 2. So from the atoms itself, you have a total of 6 plus 6, 12, 12 plus 5, 17 valence electrons available for bonding. Step 2, अगर anion है, so you have to add in the number of electrons equal to the charge present. Now nitrite is cation or anion?
anion.
anion. And तो extra कितने electrons है nitrite में?
If it's nitrogen double bonded to both the oxygens, that
No,
should
no, no.
be
Don't think that far yet. Simple.
okay.
NO2 है, N से इतने इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आए, ऑक्सीजन से इतने इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आए, दूसरे ऑक्सीजन से इतने इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आए. Apart from that, the ion
It
itself
more.
has minus. So how many more should we add?
One
मतलब
more, so it becomes
one more, yes. Minus मतलब single electron extra है. So 17 plus 1. Similarly, cation है, then the plus charge represents that those many number of electrons are taken out of the system. Now we don't know whether they're taken out of oxygen or nitrogen or whichever. We just know that those many electrons are missing. इसलिए वो वहां से positive charge आया. Anion के लिए negative charge है, मतलब we just know that those many number of electrons are extra. इसलिए you've got that extra negative charge there. So step 2 for anions, add the number of electrons equal to the charge present. So यहाँ पे 17 मिले, nitrite has a charge of -1, so you add 1 electron there. So basically we have 18 electrons to arrange and figure out how the 18 electrons are bonding nitrogen and oxygen. Okay, now to do that, so guess the distribution of electrons based on prior knowledge of the symbols and skeletal structure of elements. तो इसके लिए usually the least electronegative element occupies the central position. तो अभी हमारे पास we have nitrogen and oxygen. तो दोनों में से which one is less electronegative?
nitrogen.
Nitrogen. So nitrogen would be in the central position and oxygen is arranged around it. So you just write it here. Now we have 18 electrons to distribute amongst these three atoms. Abhi compound banega only if there is a bond formed, right? So put 2 electrons over here and over here so that you know that minimum single bond to hai, isliye ye wala ion aise form ho raha hai. So 18 में से we have accounted for 4 of these electrons. Now remaining 14, we just need to distribute it around each of these atoms such that all of their electronic configuration is satisfied. So the way you do it is pick the outermost, like usually it's oxygen. So pick oxygen first, assign electrons so that uske electronic configuration is like fulfilled. So let's fill it up. Bond se 2 electrons mil gaye, which means that oxygen needs 6 more. Similarly, this oxygen will take another 6 more. Now, based on this, how many electrons have we used up? So we've used
One of each.
16. One of each, nahi. Like we started off with 18 electrons. Bond में 4 electrons we have used up, plus 6 on this oxygen and 6 on this oxygen. Matlab 16 electrons are used up. 2 more are left. So we'll put those 2 electrons on nitrogen here. Abhi are all like, is the octet satisfied for all the atoms?
No.
Which one is remaining? Like which one is unsatisfied?
Nitrogen.
Nitrogen, right? Which means that this is incorrect. थोड़ा सा एक तो tweak करना पड़ेगा. So by how much is nitrogen short? और कितना चाहिए?
2.
2 more, right? मतलब 2 electrons, मतलब it needs to form 1 more bond. So in order to have that one more bond formed, let's take away one lone pair from any of these oxygen and put those electrons over here. So basically from this distribution, we got O, N, double bond O. So N के ऊपर you have one lone pair, and this oxygen has 6 electrons and this oxygen has 2 lone pairs, 4 electrons. So, and this overall, because एक electron extra है, just put it in square brackets and write a minus sign. So now you have the Lewis structure of nitrite ion. Now this is one structure. Now जरूरत नहीं है कि ये right side वाला oxygen ही double bond form करे, left side भी कर सकता है. So you can, this is another structure possible for nitrite. ठीक है. So this is how you can figure out, you can draw the Lewis dot structure for any compound possible. This is like the rough method. Okay. So we'll end the session here. I'll send you guys a website, just pay, you can practice drawing the structures online. I'll actually show you an example, nitrite ka hi. Google Chrome. So the same steps have been mentioned over here also. So the first step is count the total number of valence electrons in the molecular ion. So you can do this by adding the periodic group numbers and adjusting for the charge. So basically nitrogen में 7 electrons है, oxygen में, sorry, nitrogen में 5 electrons है, oxygen में 6 electrons है. You add them up, plus एक minus है, so that's a total of 18 electrons. Submit. Then step 2 is you can link the bonded atoms with a single bond. So if the compound, or this, if this needs to exist, there needs to be a bond between nitrogen and oxygen. So initially, let's just link them by single bonds. So abhi available electrons are 14. Now in 14 electrons ko, we need to arrange them. So you just drag and then just arrange it so that all of the octet is filled up. 2 electrons available hai. Let's put it over nitrogen. Yeah. But all of their octets is not getting filled up, so you just need to do some adjustments and tweaks. So if I remove these 2 electrons and introduce another bond, oh, I need to put a double bond here. So instead of a single, if I put a double bond here, all the electrons are used up, all of them have got the octet. So this would be the Lewis dot structure of nitrite ion. So similarly, you've got NO2 plus ion also. So that way you've got like 4 examples. You can take the help of this and you can practice. Okay. So next class onwards, I'll continue from here. If you guys are still not confident, I will revise Lewis dot structures. We'll do a couple of structures on our own, and then we'll move forward to the bond parameters and then VSEPR and other things. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. ठीक है, अभी Friday है ना, weekend है ना, तो I will assign homework for you guys. Yeah, periodic classification में. ठीक है.
Bye, ma'am. Have a good weekend.
Right. You too. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye.